Development in Russia and Ukraine has affected all sectors of the economy around the world, and prices of commodities and foodstuffs haven't not been left out. But what is the situation here in Ghana with respect to these prices going up on the international market? What is being done to minimize the shocks that is coming with this? What is the status of some of these flagship programs, Planting for Food and Jobs, Buffer Stock Company, to ensure that when you go to the market, you still get that favorite plantain of yours? Well, these are the issues. The state of Ghana's food security as commodity prices soar on the international market. This is PM Express Business Edition as I engage the Deputy Minister of Agric, Frimpong Addo, on what government is doing to ensure that you get that favorite plantain of yours when you go to the market. All these things wrapped up here on PM Express Business Edition. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition. So as commodity prices, foodstuffs and groceries soar on the international market, one would ask himself, what is Ghana's situation when it comes to food supplies? Already inflation is going up and it hits a record high. But what has been done? What has been done to ensure that there are still enough supplies on the market? Well, maybe I'm talking too much. Let me have an opportunity to engage the Deputy Minister of Agric, Frimpong Addo, is here in the studio as we talk about the state of our food security in Ghana today. Honorable, thank you so much for your time, and I appreciate so much. And how are you doing? I mean, all the things running around getting stuff done. How are things?
It's a pleasure being here with you once again and talking about food, security, agriculture in general. It's something that I always cherish talking about because the people must know what is going on. And your medium is large, it's big. So when you get this opportunity, you give thanks to whoever gave you the opportunity.
I mean, when you look at the commodity prices globally, I mean, it shot up unprecedented levels.
That's right.
Now, let me first get some understanding from you in terms of our relations with Russia and Ukraine.
Right.
Were we importing any stuff from there when it comes to Ghana?
Yeah, thank you so much, and thanks for this opportunity. You know, it's a global village. The whole world is a global village. So every country, one way or the other, depends on one other country for one commodity or the other. Ghana, in terms of food imports, I cannot say much about food imports from those countries, but I can talk about fertilizers.
Wow.
No, yes.
We do quite a lot from those countries.
Because you see, those two countries together, I think, account for over 60% of the world supply of chemical fertilizer. And chemical fertilizer is in short supply all around the world. Wow. Yeah, that is true. It started not today, from the era of the COVID, the outbreak of the COVID pandemic, till the war broke. Yes, it's all because it's gas-dependent product, you know. So
processing it,
exactly, you need to process this, and those areas, you know, they supply Western Europe.
Of gas,
exactly. So that's where lots of the chemical fertilizers are produced, and the whole world, you know, the world population is growing exponentially, and because of that, agriculture or food production has become so paramount to every country. You need to produce to feed the growing population. And if you need to produce to grow the population, the land is depleted of its natural nutrients. So we need to enhance it with fertilizers. Some countries are using organic fertilizers, and the farmers are not so comfortable because of the application. You see, it's easy to apply the chemical fertilizers and all that, exactly, and they get immediate results from what they apply, and therefore it's become a bit difficult for some farmers to even shift to organic fertilizer.
But the interesting thing is that I knew that even before this Russian-Ukrainian issue, there was already problems with supply of fertilizers, where some of these farmers complained about how that could impact on the planting for food and jobs.
Yes.
Now this has happened.
It has
So what is the plan B, or how are we managing the situation now, because our imports in terms of fertilizer has been affected?
Sure, considerably. Even before the outbreak of this war, we realized that the cost of fertilizers were going up before
How
the outbreak.
bad is the situation?
At the moment,
Help me out.
At the moment, it's very bad, because what we budgeted for fertilizer supplies for this year in the 2022 budget, I can tell you that the amount that we require, we may not be able to supply even half of it because of the price differentials.
That was even before the Russian issue.
Exactly. And this one has come, so we are doing some serious consideration of a whole lot of things. So the little that we will get, we will ensure that maybe they don't cross our borders like it has been the case.
That is another problem that you're also dealing with, right?
Exactly. So while the ministry intends doing, and the discussions are still ongoing, we want to encourage a lot more the production of a lot more of the organic fertilizers.
Yeah.
Because locally there are companies that are producing organic fertilizers.
Yeah, okay.
We want to encourage them, or the ministry is trying to encourage them, motivate them to produce more of the organic fertilizers. And then at the same time, you see the uptake of such organic fertilizers will depend on the kind of education we do with our farmers. As I indicated earlier, our farmers are so much used to the inorganic fertilizer because of its application and the immediate results that they get. So talking to them individually, you realize that there's a challenge. They find it difficult going to the use of the organic fertilizer. So that is the main task that the ministry and allied agencies must work around.
In terms of these companies that you're engaged in,
Yeah.
I mean, how fast can they produce this or these organic fertilizers to meet the demand? Because the fear here is that its impact on crop production going into the middle of this year and even next year as well.
Yeah, in fact, it's short, medium, and long term.
Yeah.
So in the short term, the impact of the organic fertilizer may not be felt so much, because as you indicated, do they have the capacity to produce the amounts that we require in this country? No. I mean, we need to build them up. We need to encourage a company like Zoomlion, putting up all these recycling plants all around the country in the 16 regions to turn waste into wealth. In terms of the liquid waste into organic fertilizers. You see, when that project is completed, every region will have access to organic fertilizers. There are other small companies who are also doing liquid organic fertilizers, but when we talk of requirements, I mean, they are way behind.
Can't we look at maybe other countries? I know about the Russia, Ukraine, in terms of bringing in some emergency supplies, because the fear here is that crop production will be hampered badly, especially those that are the varieties that are heavy dependent on fertilizers to, let me use the word, fast track growth.
That's right. You're right, because in spite of all these difficulties, because we've already given some supply permits to some companies, they are going to bring in fertilizers anyway.
Yeah.
The private companies have already made their orders before the outbreak of this. I don't know the arrangement. They will still have to take a second look at with their suppliers. But we've already given some orders, and they are going to come. I'm talking about the quantity. I'm worried about the quantity that we may get. So if you manage what will come, if you manage it well, checking the borders so that they won't cross our borders, and then making sure that they go to the farmers. That is what the ministry intends doing this year. Those bags, they were bigger bags of 50 kilos and things. We intend to reduce them to smaller bags so that you will not be motivated to have to carry about 20 these small bags to cross. I mean, it will be a bit tedious. These are some of the steps that we are taking, and then we are also encouraging other security agencies to help so that we combat this to the barest minimum, the smuggling. When that is done and the real farmers get the fertilizers, even the little that will come, we may get good yields from it. Secondly, like earlier indicated, the organic fertilizers locally produced, we've placed some orders for these people to also give us some organic fertilizers. And then the importation, you see, because of the high demand for organic...
Even trying to get this in is a big challenge.
It's a big challenge. Because the supply is limited, and then demand is so high, so you can imagine the cost. And mind you, the freight charges cost alone.
It's another thing altogether.
From some 3,000 about a year ago to dollars to about 12,000 now for a container has affected everything about fertilizers, even the freight charges alone. Not talking about the unit price of the fertilizer as you budget for today, tomorrow. You can never tell how the price will be like. So we are in for
some tough times.
Yeah, some tough times.
I mean, Honorable, making an intelligent guess, or not, even though I might not appreciate agriculture marketing production, but obviously crop production will be affected this year.
Yes, I wouldn't say outright. Yes, because it depends on other factors. You see, just like last year, we had challenges with fertilizer supplies. But the second part of the year, we had very good rains. So we have some good harvest, and that is sustaining us up to date. Until about 2-3 weeks ago, that some cabinet instruments were given that seems to be banning the exportation of maize and paddy rice and all those things across our
borders. So as we speak, those things are being enforced.
They are being enforced as we speak right now. Okay. So it has limited the hemorrhage. I mean, the smuggling of, not smuggling, but cutting away of the little we had last year. So we have to see to the management of the little we have to take us through to next year. But through to the new crop.
Yeah. Okay.
Because at the moment, farmers are preparing their farms to plant, and
and that is where they need the fertilizer now.
Exactly. So these orders were placed last year.
Yeah.
So as we speak, some are even discharging fertilizers at the Tema Harbor as we speak right now, and these fertilizers are going to be taken to the areas that they need most. The northern sector especially. In fact, that is where lots of the PFJ activities take place because of the landscape over there. The forest belt. The PFJ, especially the food component of the PFJ, is the cereals. You see, the maize, the sorghum, the rice, the soyas, and that kind of. These are the crops that the PFJ is actually helping promote a lot. The plantains and things, these are forest products. They've not been affected so much. But these are the ones that I mentioned are something that are grown in the savanna areas. So there they need the fertilizer. But their farming season is not like the middle belt and the southern sector. Theirs starts around May, June, July there. And they have just one farming season. When the period passes, that's it. They wouldn't have any opportunity again. Unlike the middle and the southern belt, where we have 2 farming seasons. The first one being between now and June, July, and the second one August, September, October. So we are, apart from the fertilizer, and then the seed, the improved seed the supply of improved seed. This is the good thing. One very good thing about the Planning for Food and Jobs is the introduction of improved seeds, and then the partnership with our local scientists to give us improved seeds
Varieties
for our
that
farming.
can
The varieties that can
withstand
withstand a whole lot of things.
weather.
There's still more room for improvement. For example, the drought-resistant kind of crops, so that when we have just about 3 weeks of rainfall, we will still have good harvest.
Oh no, I'll be coming back to that program itself and the status of it and how it's working. But looking at the challenges with fertilizer and the possible impact on crop production and all the rest, we've seen the inflation figures. Well, the past 5 months has been going up.
Yeah.
Statistical Service says that a chunk of it has to do with food inflation.
Yeah.
From the briefing notes you've had from the regions and all the rest,
Yeah.
what is the status of food supply at your end of the ministry?
Yes, currently, I would say that we have good stock of food in our system.
But is it getting to the markets?
That is the problem. It's getting to the market, and then people taking advantage of the world situation as it is right now. You see, as we speak, if we are not able to check our borders very well, because all around us,
But what is motivating these
the pricing.
contractors? Or
No, it's the
means you're
price.
not giving them a better price here in Ghana.
Locally, even what we are buying right now, that people, we are saying, because of the upward movement of inflation.
There's a supply challenge as well, because you are not being able to produce enough to cut them to the market, and that is why price is being affected.
No, we still have some in stock, but we need to manage it well, because between now, you see, every year around this time, food prices begin to rise.
But
this
it's
year,
unprecedented.
yeah, this year it's been serious. But the good thing is this: we have food, we have food.
But why are they not getting to the market? If there is enough food,
if you don't
why are they
regulate it,
getting-
if you
so
don't,
why do you stock enough corn at the warehouse when in the market
if you don't regulate it
people
well,
cannot get it?
now you see, if you don't regulate it well, everything will be gone by April, and May, June, July. These are very tough times. Every year, May, June, July, very tough times. So we need to manage these things very well, so that you spread it. So you see, people will be okay if they go to the market and they get some of these items to buy, even at whatever price, than not getting it at all. You see, and that is where, when we get to such a situation, that is where we have good managers. You need to manage the situation.
So I get it. You are managing your stocks.
We need to manage it. That is what we are doing.
But if you have enough stocks, why is that extra scrutiny?
You need to do that.
yeah.
You need to do that, because you can never tell. That's, as I indicated, even along the borders, in spite of all the regulations and everything, we can never tell what can happen in the night across our borders. So what we have within the system, we need to manage it well. We need to manage it in such a way that we will not run out by May, June. We should not run out of food stuff in this country.
Are you not paying these food contractors well? If you're giving them a good price, would they still want to cut it across the borders to
See,
Ivory Coast and Burkina Faso?
I am a farmer myself.
Yeah. Are you getting a good price for your
And
yields?
every farmer wants a good price.
Are you getting that? You're not.
Every farmer wants a good
Are you getting a good price for your yields?
For now, the food, what we produce here, the food produce, the farmers are getting very good price.
So what is motivating them from moving across the borders?
No, they get higher prices across the borders. I mean, seriously,
If
those of
you're
us
not
in
paying
Ghana.
them well.
No, you see, when somebody is around Sisala areas there,
Yeah.
and you go there to buy, let's say, a bag of maize at, let's say, 200. When it gets down here, because of transportation costs and everything, it's getting to 300, 400 for the bag. And somebody comes across the border from Burkina or Mali or Niger, and that person is going to give him, let's say, 800. I mean, you should know that the farmer will probably sell to that person. Even though our 400 here is so high, we think it's so high, but that farmer may be getting The 800, that over there, the 800 Ghana cedis over there, what will motivate him to send it down here to come and sell at 400? So that
is driving the exports of
in
these
fact, that is
across
the borders. Yes. If you even use cocoa as an example, wherever our price is good in Ghana, there is that tendency that the farmers along our borders would throw their cocoa into Ghana to come and sell and get good price.
So if I get you right, Honorable, it's about the management of these stocks.
Yeah.
And it's not that they are in short supply.
No, at the moment.
That is why we are having limited supply on the market, because that is what we are picking up, that there isn't enough.
There isn't enough thing. I will not accept that there isn't.
The data you are supplying from all your extension officers and officers on the ground.
The stocks.
We have
no,
enough
we have
stocks, enough warehouse.
We have food in stock, but as to say that we have it in abundance like we used to have it in other years, yes, that one I would say it is not up to that level. I mean that is the truth. But the fact is that the little we have, it can sustain us up to our next harvesting.
That's when September, August?
August, September. Yes, we can sustain ourselves with what we have if you manage it. Where we stop the cross-border smuggling and all that. If you are able to keep that at bay, we would be able to sustain ourselves with what we have up to that time. But we should also remind ourselves of the fact that whatever is happening here is as a result of whatever is happening all around the world. And as I indicated earlier, we are not an island. We are part of that global system that is being hit so hard from shortage of everything around the world. You see, so that's why I keep saying that government has to manage the little we have here. Government has to manage it so well. We need to manage releasing this to the market and all that. We need to regulate it. Otherwise, we may run into shortage in May, June. That would not be too good for this country.
In Egypt, when wheat prices went up significantly, they had to fall on their reserves to try and release it to deal with the challenge.
That's right. That's right.
What is the state of our reserves? I mean, the buffer stock company, because again, reports we are picking up doesn't paint a good picture in terms of the status of our reserves. Because in times like this, we follow our reserves to deal with the supply issues. From the notes, from the data you're being supplied and given to, what is the status of the buffer stock company?
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, the buffer stock company was created to do one major thing, apart from some other things that they need to do, is to have enough resources in terms of cash to buy these foodstuffs around the country at the farm gate prices, where the prices are a bit low, keep them in warehouses, and then release them as and when the market calls for it. Unfortunately, buffer stock is not well resourced to do exactly what they are supposed to do. So if you talk to the management of buffer stock, they will tell you that they are trying so hard to get a lot of the foodstuffs in the hinterlands from the farm gates to keep in warehouses. It is a major challenge for them.
Aren't you approving their budgets? You are reducing their budget, Minister.
No, you see, in hard times like this, but the budgets are not enough for every sector.
But the implications of food,
yes,
it could lead to something else.
The point is that buffer stock supplies to all the school feeding, the free SHS and the free feeding.
That was a policy that people even criticize because of the fact that the company should just reserve itself and
concentrate
on reserves than
Yeah.
getting into this active thing of school feeding program and supplying all those things. And
You see,
that is one of the reasons why they are in this problem.
not really, because they are astute business guys over there, and this is business. You see, if you're able to buy enough at the farm gates, store and supply to, because government's policy of free SHS comes with a budget. So if you're a buffer stock and you know that if you supply the food to government for the free SHS, you make some margins on it, then you improve as the years roll on. You improve your financial stock. Buffer stock should be encouraged to continue doing that, because without them, maybe we wouldn't have had very successful implementation of the school feeding program and the free SHS program because of buffer stock. So they are combining it. They are just that their own capacity has not been enough to be able to mop up all these foods that we are talking about across the length and breadth of this country. I mean, if they are well resourced, I'm sure they could store enough to do both, though, by stocking and then supplying to the school.
Minister, some will say that you might be overseeing their budget. Why are you not approving their budget for them to give them enough resources to convince your minister, to convince government, to convince cabinet that,
That's right.
Listen, the food situation it's paramount
It is.
over everything.
It is.
So resource them.
Yeah. In fact, it's something that the minister is so passionate about and he's been doing. But you know, it's the cake, the national cake, is being shared across board. You know, I know that food security is everything.
Yeah.
Because all these hardships around the world, if we have lots of food in this system, the prices, if somebody goes to the market and can buy a kenke at 1 cedi and it's cool. I mean, the temperature in the
In other Arab countries, shortage of bread leads to an overthrow of a government. I mean, sometimes
there were several factors.
Yeah.
There were several other factors.
Wasn't the bread issue?
No. I mean, that was just something
That triggered.
the immediate something that triggered up. There were something had heated up like a volcano for years before
but you know,
that was
in the
sparked.
Arabian countries, bread is it's everything.
Yeah, you're right, but not in our current situation that we are. I'm saying that we have food stuff in stock, and that we are just managing it so that we will not get to that point.
But some would argue that the situation of the buffer stock campaign itself raises concerns about our food security situation going forward.
Well, raises concerns. Yes, I mean, there's no way anybody can argue against that, because they need to improve their services. And once there's room for improvement, we cannot doubt the fact that it raises concern. There's room for improvement. But in the same vein, we have warehouses. We've built warehouses with a capacity of about 80,000 metric tons at the disposal of buffer stock, and they are buying from the farm gates to store in these warehouses. In fact, we were in the savannah and the northeast in December, and we witnessed some warehouses that were overflowing, you know, with maize and paddy rice.
Overflowing?
Yes. Gambaga and some other communities that we visited. That on the premises of these warehouses, people had their produce all over. And I was worried that in case of any rainfall, I mean, how were they going to fare? You know. So we had some good harvests in the northern sector, as far as the grains are concerned. If we are able to check the smuggling, we will have enough stock. So the buffer stock taking advantage of these warehouses that are built all around the country. They can have a place to store their foodstuffs. We will encourage them, and then we will encourage government to always increase their budget. You see, if we are able to do that, and depending on the strength of the economy, because we still have serious challenges with our finances in the economy right now, and buffer stock is not the only institution that is suffering from budget cuts. You know already
20% every quarter.
Exactly, and it has affected it has affected all ministry, department, and agencies, MDAs, all MDAs. It has affected. It's affecting everybody. It's not only the buffer stock. But I agree with you that food is everything. So
giving more
maybe
support, giving more
especially in the mid-year budget review, we may have to put in a serious case
to resource the buffer stock company.
Exactly, to do the needful.
No, but if I say Ghana's food security situation right now,
Yes.
if I rate it 5/10, am I right?
No, I will make it 7/10. For now, yes, 7/10. Maybe in 2 months' time we can come and talk about it again.
But 2 months' time it could come down to 4/10 because you're having fertilizers issues, you're having crop production.
The fertilizer issues, we can talk about it after the harvest of this year's agricultural activities. You see, that's where we can talk about this year's fertilizer issues. We may be so lucky to have good rains at the right times, that little fertilizer that we can apply, you may get very good harvest. And you see, there are especially the smallholder farmers. There are a lot. 80% of our food needs are provided by the smallholder farmers. And if we are able to give them improved seeds that can withstand some of these shocks, and they get good rains, they may not even apply lots of the fertilizer, but you may get what do you call it? Our produce all right. We may get good harvest. You see, so let us have hope. In spite of all the challenges, the fertilizers, the little we ordered, some have started coming, and I know that the farmers will get these fertilizers at the right time. They may not be sufficient, but they are going to get the fertilizers at the right time. And then when we apply them correctly, because we are going to ensure that they get the improved seeds, because that is very paramount, the improved seeds, that will give us the maximum yield, and we are able to get these fertilizers, no matter the quantity, but at the right time, and better application of these, because we have a lot of extension officers who are ready to help our farmers, these smallholder farmers across the country. If you're able to do that, a lot of these fears will be allayed. Seriously. Yes.
Oh, no, but I'll be coming back for us to look at the planting for food and jobs. Well, how is it doing right now? There are calls for some of the government's social intervention programs to be reviewed and cut as well. Can we look at that one? And also protecting the local farmer in terms of application of some duties on imported goods and all the rest. All these issues on PM Express as we look at the state of our country's food security situation as we engage the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Alfred Bonado. This is PM Express Business Edition. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back to PM Express Business Edition as we assess the country's food security situation and what is being done to ensure that the prices of foodstuffs in the market are managed. When you get it onto the market, you can get that favorite plantain or cassava or yam of yours at a very good price. And we'll be engaging the Deputy Minister of Agriculture from Bonado. And let's look at even its flagship program, the Planting for Food and Jobs, that was hailed as the Maradona of our food. How is it doing right now?
Yeah, thank you. I always tell people that without Planting for Food and Jobs, the current situation that we find ourselves would have been worse.
Someone saying that is debatable. Before this program, we're meeting our food needs. So what is so special about Planting for Food and Jobs that we are still going to the market and prices are hitting the roof.
Well, I say this all the time, that there are several areas in this country that the farmers were doing just on 3 bags, 4 bags per acre, you see, until the Planning for Food and Jobs. Fertilizer usage was so low, so low. We're not using the improved seeds. So a lot of the research institutions were not getting anything from their research work. So now go to the research institutions and the kind of collaboration they have with the ministry, with the advent of the Planning for Food and Jobs, to come out with improved seeds. You see, high-yielding seeds. And we are not importing this also. Local scientists are getting us these improved seeds. And the ministry is paying for them. So they are motivated to do more research into it. That is one good thing that has happened between the ministry and the research institutions in this country. Then secondly, as I said, fertilizer usage was so low. Now it has gone up a little bit, and now people are getting between 10 and 15 bags of maize per acre. That is an improvement. Population is increasing all the time. So you can imagine without the Planning for Food and Jobs program, and if you were still in the pre-2017 period where we're getting these low yields, how would we have fared? So as for Planning for Food and Jobs, I will always say that it's just like the Operation Feed Yourself in the early 70s. In the 70s, when there was this Operation Feed Yourself and everybody wanted to go into farming. As we speak right now, there are several members of parliament who are doing serious farming.
I see.
Because there's that encouragement, and then the government subsidized fertilizers and these improved seeds. The extension officers, we had just a few extension officers before the advent of this program. And the Modernizing Agriculture project, supported by the Canadian government, ensured that we were able to employ over 2,700 extension officers scattered all over the country. And they were giving motorbikes to be mobile, to be visiting farms. All of these things culminated in the kind of situation that we had in this country up to last year, where we had challenges with the fertilizer supply. And then that one also happened because of this COVID. Those factories that were producing the fertilizers closed down because of COVID, and it affected us last year. So gradually trying to recover from all those things, and this Ukraine, Russia too has hit us. But these are just some hiccups within the period between 2017 and now, and we are going to overcome these challenges. These are challenges, and we are going to overcome it. Planning for Food and Jobs is the deal. I mean, in agriculture, that has come to transform the smallholder farmer, the kind of methods that he was using and all that. Planning for Food and Jobs has given them wide, broad spectrum of how they can improve their farming activities. And for me, that is refreshing. And now that they've come to understand the fact that if you apply fertilizers, if you use improved seeds, you're going to increase your yield per acre, the government can gradually win itself of this fertilizer subsidy thing, because they know that farming is business, and that if they invest a little in fertilizer, once the fertilizer is available and they invest in it, they are going to get high yields. And with this kind of market that we have right now, every farmer who produces so much maize, especially so much soya, so much rice, so much sorghum, the market is there for that person to make his money.
You think that there are some modules or the structure itself going forward, some portions should be reviewed? Do you have, after years of implementing it, by now, Honorable, you know where the challenges are that should be reviewed?
No, every project 2, 3 years, 4 years, you can review it, because you cannot have any project being so.
I mean, not about just reviewing, but have you identified some shortfalls that you recommend to your minister? Listen, minister, let's look at these areas. Let's review them going forward.
No, I've had occasion to even go to the minister to tell him that, look, some people have concerns about the implementation of these projects, especially with the fertilizer supplies. So these are things that we discuss among ourselves all the time. And especially with discussion with security agencies and how to manage the fertilizer smuggling situation. These are some of the things that we need to do. And even coming out with smaller bags labeled made in Ghana, planting for food and jobs fertilizers, not for sale or something like that, has been the result of this internal review process that we have. But we've not had a major review. So you look at the challenges in the implementation and you try to solve them internally. You see, it is not a bigger picture challenge that should have a nationwide review program.
I asked this question because in these challenging times, they've been called for some of government social intervention initiatives and flagship programs be reviewed in terms of funding. What do you make of that push? That, I mean, there's talk about free SHS, planting for food and jobs. Some of these programs should be trimmed now in terms of funding.
Well, I cannot talk about the other programs, but I can talk about
let's talk about
food and jobs. Yes, and one of the steps that the ministry is taking to review some of the policies and the programs is, for example, the subsidy regime. You see, the subsidy regime. Government is moving away gradually. The ministry is moving away gradually from the high 60% subsidy to 50 to 35%. We are coming down, because of what is happening in the world, we are coming down to, I think, 15% or so for this year. You know, we are in a critical year. Some people even suggested that we should remove it altogether, but the minister said no.
Because the call now is that cut spending to some of these areas, and then focus on other areas. Or you think that planning for food and jobs shouldn't be touched?
We are touching it.
So internally, you are reviewing some of the things already.
Exactly. About the fertilizers, I spoke about the fertilizers. I mean, subsidies, imagine, reducing subsidies from 50 to 35 to 15. That is massive. You see, if things improve, we may go up, or we may maintain the 15 or even come further down, so that the farmers will once they get to know that if we apply fertilizers and improve seeds, we are going to increase our yields, naturally they themselves will go to the market and buy their fertilizers. So that the government subsidy in it, that is quite huge. Since we started, close to about 1 billion Ghana cedis has been spent on subsidies. And imagine government spending this huge amount of money, and at the same time, these products are being smuggled.
So you think that the subsidy program should be heavily reviewed?
We have already.
Oh, you are doing that already?
We are doing that already. It is in this year's program that we are going to.
Let's look at the plan to also deal with I know, skyrocketing prices of foodstuffs on the market. What is the ministry also doing about it to try and manage the situation? So that, because prices are just...
I've already alluded to that earlier, but let me repeat it. You see, the stock that we have right now, the first thing that we realize that if we don't act fast, it will hit us in the face, like it did last year, was the tendency of opening our borders for these neighboring countries to just come in to take away our produce. So now there's a regulation. That is one. And then two, we need to release some of these farm produce to the market at regular intervals. You see, we should not just allow things, I mean, like people going up there to bring everything down. Within a short time, you run out of stock and all that. So we are regulating these ones. We cannot have stable prices, but at least the relative increase in prices may be curtailed a little bit, may be controlled a little bit, because the rate at which the prices are going up is a bit scary. So it is something that we are considering seriously at the ministry, and in the next few weeks, something is going to be done about it.
More measures to try and
exactly, because the rate at which it's going is getting so much. So there's something that the ministry is taking very serious look at.
Let's look at some of the stuff that can be, again, the plan to deal with heavy reliance on imports. You look at rice. Yeah. You look at, when I hear even tomatoes and all the rest, I'm worried, Honorable.
Yeah, you have to.
What is being done in the medium to long term to reduce our heavy dependence on stuff that can be produced locally?
Yeah, you see, especially with the tomatoes. Let's talk about the tomatoes. At times, because it gets to a point that these are neighboring countries also coming here to take some of our foodstuffs. When they have that good conditions to grow tomatoes, we also have good soils and everything to grow it down here. The problem was with the varieties, but luckily for us, we've developed some new varieties that can be grown here for us for our farmers or our consumers to also like the kind of tomatoes that we grow here. You see, that was number one, because people felt that the tomatoes that we grow here, there was too much water and that kind of thing. So they put together some research institute scientists to come out with new varieties that the Ghanaians will like. So that is number one. Number two, we are encouraged. There are pockets of areas that grow tomatoes. It's not everywhere in Ghana that you can grow tomatoes. There are Commandant areas, some part of the Volta region, the Navrongo areas, the northern sector. There are areas that we can grow these ones. There are dams, irrigation projects that government is rehabilitating. And when these things are done, and a lot of them are almost complete, when they are done, they can grow tomatoes all year round, so that we can alleviate these kind of situations.
Now, because of time constraints, in terms of wrapping up in a minute, in terms of being a food-sufficient nation, you think that we are getting there soon, or a lot is being done?
A lot is
in
being
a minute
done.
As we try to wrap up on this program.
A lot is being done, because the situation is this: when we talk of deficit in rice, production like this is quite huge. It will take us some time. We've set a target, like 2024, that Ghana should be self-sufficient in rice production. The plans are there for us to achieve that target. Soya, there's a huge gap in supply and demand. The plans are also afford to also close that gap with some projects that we are doing. At the appropriate time, maybe we will have to discuss.
Have a separate discussion on
this
food
project,
sufficiency.
exactly, so that we will have this food sufficiency. But with maize and sorghum and all that, I mean, we are
We're getting there.
Yeah, we are.
Well, I know the debate will still go on in your homes about whether we are getting there in terms of food security, and also how we're working hard to be a food-sufficient nation, Ghana. Well, prices are going up, but they are showing from the minister that they are working hard to deal with the situation. The debate will go on in your homes and offices, but what more can be done? This is PM Express Business Edition. Have a great day.